He'd have been a nightmare to play against. I'd rather play with him than against him, Martin. He's 6'2" and just sheer power, strength, head and ability. Fantastic strike of the ball, both feet, and powerful runner. He had everything, Martin.
As the third highest goal scorer in the history of the club and the record holder for most goals in Europe by a Spurs player, Martin's place in this list is assured. Arriving in 1968 from Southampton, Martin began his career in between a formidable partnership.
I slotted in between the G-men, as they called them. That was Jimmy Greaves and Alan Gilzean. I started off very well, but after about 8 months, I had a terrible injury, which threatened my career. So I missed most of Jim's time here. Unfortunately, when I got back to fitness after a year, Jimmy was finding it tough, and eventually, just within a year, he'd gone. So I was left with Alan Gilzean. He was the main one for me. He was a fantastic player.
It was great to have up there. You know, when you had a Martin Chivers playing as best I think that ever seen over the period that that I came. It wasn't just because of me, obviously, because he had a bad injury prior to the 70s, and he got over that and became one of the best centre forwards, certainly in Europe.
And I was a winger at the time, and I thought, well, all you've got to do is get the ball across, and there's a good chance that Martin Chivers will be on the end of it. And invariably, that's what happened. I crossed it, and Martin used to come in and head the goals and score, and it was a great.
He was one that I'd watched as a schoolboy, on schoolboy forms, watching going every week, watching Martin play and play for England and win the UEFA Cup with those two magnificent goals against Wolves, and so he was a bit iconic, if you like, for me.
If there's one thing that Martin will be remembered for, it will be that 1972 UEFA Cup final against Wolves.
It was a slight disappointment because I'm sure they felt that they'd like to play against Europe, make it a big affair with a European game, against European opposition. But we both did so well in our semi-final games that we finished up against one another. I was lucky at Wolves. I always scored up there, to the point I remember they put in the programme that we won't mind if Martin Chivers breaks tradition tonight and doesn't score, because he scored on 3 previous occasions. But lo and behold, after a quiet first half, it was stalemate half-time and a good rollicking from Bill Nick, the usual one. I went out and scored a couple of very important goals, and I think that helped us win the UEFA Cup in '72.
The achievements of Spurs throughout the early to mid-70s were in no small part due to the impact of Martin Chivers. 2 League Cup trophies and the UEFA Cup crown, 174 goals in 367 games. A great player, but he still at times frustrated the great Bill Nicholson.
Chivers, 2 or 3 years ago, was a very good footballer, a very good centre forward. All the potential, got everything that the player wants. Nobody has got more to give the game than what that fella's got.
Do you think he's given it all? Has he given it all, do you think?
I always thought that he could have contributed more, but as I say, when he was playing well, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, we had few complaints, scoring lots of goals at that particular time.
Despite his height and power, he was quick as well, and for a big chap, he was muscular, and he had all the attributes. He was a great athlete.
Great centre forward, had everything, and to play with him was an absolute delight. You know, you make a run as a midfield player, and whether it was on his head, chest, left foot, left thigh, right thigh, it would just it'd lay a ball off perfect for you. So it was a pleasure to work with him and to play with him.
Son of another of the great Spurs strikers, Les Allen, Clive Allen's career at White Hart Lane was filled with goals and was without doubt the pinnacle of a career that spanned many London clubs.
It was my destiny. I always felt that I'd play for the football club.
Signed from QPR after playing his first games for his country in 1984, Clive Allen fulfilled a lifelong ambition to play on the hallowed turf.
That was the most wonderful feeling ever, that I could play at White Hart Lane and score goals. And obviously to be given the chance to do that as a professional It just felt like home. I was, as it does to this day. You know, it's there's a special atmosphere. There's a great feeling about the place, and to have played there and to score goals, as you know, I wanted to. That was what I was all about in my playing career. Was just the most wonderful feeling.
Well, me and Clive, we grew up together, same age, played schoolboy football against each other, played for England youth together, just grew up and we used to quite socialise a lot together, you know, with wives and us, and we still do now. So yeah, I've known Clive a long time, so it was easy to play alongside Clive because we knew each other so well. And obviously he's a great goal scorer because he was 49 the year that I left. It was a great achievement for him.
That season was 1986-87, a season that saw the club revolutionise the way English football was played, challenge for the league and reach an FA Cup final.
The way the team was set up, and David Pleat has to take a lot of credit for that. I think he looked at the players that he had in the squad. He devised a system which I think just suited everybody. And for me myself, I think he knew that I could finish. He looked at a role in which, given chances, that I'd score goals. And I always felt that whatever game I played in, whether I, you know, in my own mind, whether I felt I was playing well or not, I knew with the quality of players that were around me that I was going to get chances.
Getting it away but not very far. It's Waddle again. Good early pressure here from Tottenham. He's turned down. He's got the cross in. Coleman! An early strike for Tottenham.
Played up front on his own. Brilliant first touch, great finisher, great to play with. But obviously we played slightly differently because we had five in midfield, so he used to play sort of gives and goes. But he had a magnificent season.
We were creating chances everywhere that year. Midfield with likes of Glenn Hoddle, Chrissy Waddle, Ossie Ardiles, and my partnership at the back was with Richard Gough. So it was a very good side that year, and we came obviously third in the league. Semi-final of the League Cup, and then got to the final of the FA Cup.
We always want to win. I'm the fiercest of competitors myself, but I think it has to be done in a certain style. And Tottenham Hotspur, for me, is what that is all about. Is playing with a real flair, a real quality, and enjoying and loving the game that we watch.